My name is Kulisiewicz and I'm talking to you from Cracow in Poland. I want to tell you a few things about saving Jewish people in Cracow during the Second World War. This is important for me to tell you a few details about this action because my grandfather, Professor Tadeusz Seweryn, was a commanding officer of the Polish underground in Cracow, and he organized the action helping Jews here in our city during the war. My grandfather, a great brave man, this is his photograph. Was the representative of the so-called Polish underground state. Polish underground state was the official representative of the real Polish government in London. It was the Polish government in exile who had civil underground structures in Poland and also military unit called Armia Krajowa, in English Home Army. My grandfather, Professor Seweryn, was the representative of this Polish government in London, in Cracow during the Second World War, and he decided to create this special organization called Żegota, the organization which was helping Jewish people during the war. It was a very risky and very dangerous action because the Germans decided only in Poland, not in the Western occupied countries, not in Holland, not in Luxembourg, not in France, but only in Poland, they decided to kill every Polish citizen who decided to help Jews, who were helping Jews to find an apartment, or even selling food to them, or selling medicine. Any kind of help for the Jewish people was very dangerous, and the Germans decided to kill Polish people with their families. There were very many Polish families which were killed because they helped their Jewish friends and Jewish neighbors. This is why it was not easy to find people who wanted to hide Jews and who wanted to cooperate with the Polish underground. My grandfather had several soldiers and had several people who were working with him together in the underground structure, in this Polish underground state. And it was a bit easier for him to start such action, because the Żegota organization needed a lot of preparations. It was necessary to prepare false documents. False documents were prepared in special places where they had special German typewriters, German stamps, German documents. Then these documents were brought to the Jewish people who were hiding in secret apartments or in the ghetto in Cracow, and the next stage was bringing these Jewish people to their new secret homes. It was very difficult because Cracow was the capital of the new German structure called Generalgouvernement, and it was full of German police. German soldiers, German police, the regular police, also Gestapo and SS units. They were everywhere in the streets and they were controlling Polish people all the time. So it was very difficult to bring Jewish people to their new secret homes. Usually my grandfather's friends used horse-driven carts, and those Jews had clothes like peasants, like farmers, and of course these Polish false documents. Sometimes they were using other tricks like certificates from the hospital that that person was ill and had to be brought home. Sometimes they were just walking and they had several people from Żegota accompanying them. Of course, they were walking also with their new false documents. When the Jews were in their new secret homes, it was very difficult to feed them. You must know that during the Second World War, you couldn't buy food in food shops like today. Germans introduced special coupons, and Polish people had very small amounts of food which they got bringing those coupons and money, of course. But Jewish people with their false documents, of course, didn't have real German coupons for food. So it was necessary for Żegota organization to find enough money all the time to buy food for the Jews on the black market. And the black market prices were very high. The next problem was medicine. Medicine was also difficult to get, and thanks God there were doctors, medical doctors cooperating with Żegota organization who were organizing medicine illegally from the hospitals, or sometimes buying medicine legally for their patients or for themselves. But you, of course, needed money to do it. And there was some money coming from London, from the Polish government in London, but it was not regular. You must remember that the transportation of money and documents from London to occupied Poland was very risky. It was a long way and it was not always easy to get this money to Cracow. So my grandfather had brave soldiers who were simply robbing banks, robbing German banks or German shops, stealing money there. Sometimes they were stealing also weapons, uniforms, typewriters, stamps, German documents, everything that Żegota and Polish underground needed. But the most important part of the help were, of course, people. People who were risking everything. They were risking their life, not only their life, also the life of the whole family, also of their children. My grandfather was hiding in a small house of family Walczyk near the local airfield of Luftwaffe in Rakowice. It was a very good place because the officers of Luftwaffe were interested only in flying, and they didn't care what was happening around. So this place, Rakowice, near the Luftwaffe airfield, was a good place to hide. In that small house of family Walczyk, young family who had small children, there were several people from the Polish government. My grandfather, the commanding officer, several soldiers with weapons, with guns, several people who were coming and going because they were bringing news from the town, and sometimes also Jewish people were hiding there. These Walczyk people, this family, is a very good example of brave people who were risking all the time, for a very long time, life of their home family. The other family was Ciepły family. These were the farmers near Cracow in Opatkowice village. They were hiding Jews, and they were also risking a lot. They had also children, and it was also a very brave thing to keep many Jews all the time. My grandfather, as a representative of the underground state, Polish underground state, created also special underground courts of justice. These courts of justice were very important because they were warning some Polish people who wanted to earn money cooperating with German police. Sometimes the warnings were enough, sometimes were not enough, and it was necessary to kill these people. Polish underground state never hesitated. Polish underground state always wanted to protect Jewish people, and they decided to kill Polish collaborators because they thought these people were dangerous for both, for the Jewish people and also for the Polish people, for the Polish family that were risking their lives and hiding Jews. This is why it is important for you to know that the Polish underground state and the Polish government in exile in London was always trying to protect Jews, to save their life, and this government was sending money, and these government's people, like my grandfather, his soldiers, his friends, people cooperating in the villages, simple people, farmers, everybody was interested in helping Jewish people. This is important to know now, that the Polish state was always supporting Jews. My grandfather, after the war, got a title in Israel, in Yad Vashem, the title Righteous Among the Nations of the World. This title was very important for him and for other people, and maybe you have heard it. This title was given to very many Polish people, and the group of the Polish people who get the title from Yad Vashem in Israel is getting bigger and bigger all the time, and it is the biggest group in Yad Vashem. Poland helped a lot. Poland was one of the few nations which suffered a lot. Poland was one of the few countries, or maybe the only one, where people helping Jews were risking their life. But Poland did everything to help Jews, and I am very proud that one of these people was my grandfather, Professor Tadeusz Seweryn.